Broadcom acquires VM Ware, drama at OpenAI, and your heated seat may start costing more than your Netflix.
It's news to me. Welcome to It's News to Me, where the it is IT and the me is whoever it needs to be. I'm Noah Parker.
I'm Michael Trotter-Lawson.
And I'm Tyler Rasnick.
Alright, so you all have both played video games before, right? I know you have.
No,
Oh yeah, I'm a gamer.
I have never played a video game in my life.
I would consider myself a gamer.
So, this week's hypothetical question. If you were an NPC in a video game, what would you say when the player character initiated a conversation with you? Like, what's your stock line of dialogue?
You know, I feel like this is very similar to the question of how would we get ChatGPT to act like us?
Yeah, but it's different, though.
It's almost
very
like you could
different.
look at it
Like-
like if you're a toy and you had a string, what would your, few...
My
you pulled the string.
taglines.
Yeah.
your
I mean,
catchphrase.
my first one right out the gate would be, "What's up, dog?"
Yeah,
I mean, that's
you.
gotta
for sure.
happen. And then, and then they'd be like, "Well, I'm just talking to you. What's up with you?" And I'd be like, "Oh, you know, just J chillin'." The J in J chillin' stands for just, so it's kind of like saying ATM machine.
Is that when people use the word V to mean very?
Yeah,
V tired.
yeah,
It's like, just type it out, bro.
yeah.
I've never heard that one before.
That's like kind of a Zoomer thing, which I assumed you guys would be kind of, sort of in that. My sister
Yeah.
has done that.
We're technically Zoomers,
What are you
but-
talking about?
What are you talking about?
You know
What is-
Visco? You heard about Visco?
Yeah,
It's like a Visco thing.
the Visco girls are the ones that went, right?
Yes. Yes. They did all kinds of cool stuff. I don't know, I used to play Grand Theft Auto when I was a kid, and I always liked walking down the sidewalk, and then you would hear in passing people say stuff. Like, there was the one guy that's like, "I've been drinking again," like stuff like that as you're walking past them. So I would think that maybe mine would be something to that effect, like, "My tummy's hurting me." Probably be something like that. "I got a tummy ache." Probably be what mine would be.
You almost made my tea come out of my nose.
Or maybe like a Skyrim type thing where I was like, "I used to be an adventurer like you until I took an arrow to the tummy.
Until my tummy hurt.
Now my tummy hurts."
Oh, gosh. Michael would be one of those NPCs that you're just not allowed to talk to.
You haven't reached that point in the quest yet?
No, he's just like over in the corner and like, he just like, you walk up to him and he's like, "What do you want? Leave me alone."
You hit E and he goes,
Yeah.
Yeah, then you interact a certain amount of times, and eventually it's turn around like, "Oh, sorry, I had my earbuds in."
True. Oh, gosh.
"The Adikir have curved swords." That would be me too.
What quest would you give?
What quest would I give?
Yeah. I'd give like a quest for like the most like delicious apple pie or something.
Maybe getting me like Pepto. Like, my tummy hurts, could you give me some Pepto-Bismol?
I'd be like, "What's up, dog? You give me some snacks?"
I don't know. I like to think that if I were an NPC, it'd be one of those situations where I'd be the character that'd be like, "Can you finally give me a good death?" But then I don't actually fight back. You know?
Yeah, and then you kind of just like feel like a crappy video gamer because you just killed this guy, even though it's what he wanted, but he just stood there and took it like a.
That's happened. That's a video game trope, because there's like 3 video games this happens in. Borderlands, Skyrim twice. Maybe that's it. Maybe those are the only
I
games.
never
that's ever
liked
happened.
those though because they just kind of make me feel
It made me
bad.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there was like an orc in Skyrim that was like, "Are you going to give me a whatever death of..."
A warrior's death?
Yeah, and you're like, "Okay," and you hit him twice and he's dead. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, shoot.
Some warrior.
And there's the Ebony Warrior who you fight, and he's the same way, but he's actually tough, and most of the time kicks your ass.
Well, yeah, you have to be like 75 before he
Yeah.
even shows up.
And you even have a chance to beat him, and you
Yeah.
won't. He'll mop the floor with you. And then there's like some guy in Borderlands. I don't remember. It's been so long since I played it, but he's like one of those cannibal things that just wants you to kill him. And you do instantly.
Yeah.
It's like
there's this one guy in The Witcher 3 where like you keep running into him, and he's constantly wanting to duel you, even though he loses every single time. And I think eventually you finally have to like either talk him down or just kill him, because
I could see Geralt just being and then killing him.
I don't know. I'm always too. Well, I shouldn't say too, but I can never bring myself to play like use like the Mass Effect terms, like the Renegade playthroughs in video games. I just
like the evil playthrough. Is that like
Sometimes they're like a little more comically evil than they need to be.
I'm just
I get too attached to these characters that I meet.
I'm too nice. I can never do like a what is it? The I'm trying to think of the like especially evil run through of Undertale. What is it called?
Oh, the genocide run.
The genocide run. That's right. God,
That game's cool though because if you do that the first time through, you can never do the pacifist run of the game. It like keeps like even if you uninstall the game and reinstall it, it's like it knows what you've done.
Yeah, which is almost kind of disturbing when you think about people who really like Undertale, because it means that almost all of those people started with the pacifist run and then did a genocide run and then never went back to it.
Yeah.
Like that's the way they left.
I mean, there is a way you
world,
can go in and like find that file and
But I mean,
Tim
still.
Yeah.
On a console.
Who's going to go through and try and do that?
I tried. I unsuccessfully
You
at
did
my
that?
dad.
You did a genocide run?
No, I didn't do a genocide run, but I killed one person before I decided and knew what I was doing, and there was no going back from it.
Well, but I mean, you can do a pacifist run after like.
Yeah, but it's not
run,
like
right?
an actual because like if you kill anyone,
Really?
yeah, like it stays
You're not a
like
pacifist
that.
anymore.
Yeah.
I've done Renegade. I always do Renegade in Mass Effect because it's the best. Like, there's nothing better than those. I think it's 2 and 3 when you get the cutscene options where you can like trigger to do something badass.
Well, that's the thing. There are a bunch of like cool things that Shepard will do with like the Renegade ones, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Like Knights of the Old Republic, though, if you chose the Sith route, some of that was like comically evil, like just killing Ewoks for no reason, or like
Poor Ewoks.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sith in Star Wars have always been like borderline comically evil. You've never really, until you get in like the extended universe type stuff, there just aren't really sympathetic dark side users.
That's true.
They're pretty much just villains.
I guess Revan really was the first one that I remember that was like, this guy's all right.
And even Revan, Revan is what you make of it, right? I mean, you can make him that comic villain if you want him to be, and that's who he was before you started playing as him, right?
Yeah. I mean, I always...
Or her,
but I think canonically it's a him, or at least in the MMO he has a face and a voice and all that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I always made him a good guy in the first game.
Yeah.
I fought the bald guy, Malik. I forgot. It's been so long.
Darth Malik.
Yeah.
Broadcom acquiring VM Ware. That's the story we're on about now.
$69
billion.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. I could have sworn it was.
I thought it was 74.
We did a story about this the other day, and that story said 71.
I saw 74 somewhere else.
It's
Or not
somewhere in
71,
those
it said 61.
upper 10 millions.
Greater than $60 million.
More than
$60 billion.
More than $5 at least.
Well, yeah, for sure. But Tyler, you have a bit more experience in regards to VMware and what this acquisition might mean and what it's already meant. You want to get into that a little bit?
Oh, I mean, no, I know one thing. When I saw this happen, I think I saw on Reddit, the sysadmin subreddit, I think I told you guys about it. I actually saw workers alert me to this, or I saw the news broke from the workers being let go before the actual press release. So I think it was like 2,800 employees were let go. I think more were let go after, but a lot of them being like remote engineers. Obviously Broadcom has their own. Anytime an acquisition like this happens or a merger, they basically get rid of like departments or like job titles. They choose one to keep and get rid of the other. So that's already happened, which could be a bad thing if you look at it from the VMware side of the house for the support, because if any of these engineers are, obviously they're going to be more familiar with the product than a Broadcom engineer that they keep. So that would likely mean that support will get a little worse. It probably will get better over time. But then the other thing that you always have to expect or look out for when something like this happens, and it happens every time and will happen here too, we're even sort of seeing some ripples of this internally. We've got quotes and some things that we need, and there's a quoting freeze on VMware internally. So we haven't actually been able to quote any of their licensing until that gets released, and we're assuming it's directly related to this Broadcom acquisition, but price hikes probably will happen, if I had to guess. That always happens after a merger or an acquisition. Prices go up, and then they sort of come down, and they sort of settle. They're still up inflated what they were post-merger, but they sort of settle down somewhere in the middle. So that'll affect, obviously, anyone running VMware, which is pretty much everyone that is serious about virtualization. I mean, that's really the only product that there is. I mean, there's Hyper-V, which is included with Windows, but the management is lacking. It's not quite the same maturity as VMware. VMware's been around for, I guess, almost 30 years, 25 plus years. So there's really not like a second place competitor that you could go to. So they do have a monopoly, and it's probably a good move from Broadcom acquiring them anyway, because there's no other game in town, so they can sort of do what they want. Now, will this inspire some third party, some small vendor that does something similar to, hire some of these engineers that were laid off and, start competing in that space? Maybe, but that's going to take years. So these are usually bad. These are usually bad news for everybody.
At least for short term.
Yeah. And long term, too. Yeah, long term, too. Because, VMware they had a lot of goodwill built up in the IT community over the last 20 years. Because for the most part, they weren't egregiously priced. They were fair. The support was good. The product is rock solid. There's really been no issues. So we'll see where it goes from here, but $69 billion is a lot of money.
Is Broadcom kind of an infamous kind of company in this space? Like, I wasn't really familiar with Broadcom prior to
Broadcom is a telecommunications company. They make a lot of the chips when it comes to, I think that maybe some cell phone chips for the radio communications for the actual cellular. They make a variety of different products for telephony. They bought Symantec, the AV company. They acquire these different companies in these different spaces, but they're broadly just like a telecommunications company, or just now, I guess, a technology company.
Right.
I guess is what you'd consider them. But
it looks like they're trying to delve a bit more into enterprise software.
Yep.
So
the CEO of Broadcom is wanting to crack down on people living close enough to the office to come back in, even though VMware was pretty remote friendly prior to that.
I think most of those
works well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because you're limiting your talent pool for something like support, that can be bad depending on where your base of operations is. I think a lot of at least from anecdotal evidence on Reddit, most of the people that were let go were remote workers that I guess they assumed or knew wouldn't be coming back to the office in some form or fashion, so they were let go. So
it's really, I don't know, it's confusing seeing so many of these technology companies really push to get people back into the office. It really just seems unnecessary. Especially because,
to me, it seems unnecessary to the companies themselves, but I get the logic behind, for, the economy itself, that all these people that do work from home now, they're not going out and spending as much money doing other things and stuff like that. Which,
in the cities.
Which can, affect the economy, obviously.
Well,
but also, I don't know why,
also aren't going to care about that.
Well, that's what I was saying. I don't know why they seem to care so much. I wonder if it's more so that they just have all this office space.
They pay for the real estate.
Yeah.
And if in San Francisco, it's not cheap. So,
Well,
if you have an office that you're paying, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars a year in rent on, and it's a third full, I'm sure that's some motivating factor, at least maybe not fully monetarily, but like, just the fact that you're paying for this, no one's using it.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, sure, that sucks, but like at the same time, with the way that the economy is and the job market is right now, you're probably going to be hard pressed to replace those people. I mean,
Well, apparently Broadcom was like pushing people to come back to the office like in April of 2020.
Yeah.
At like the beginning, like that was still like very beginning of the pandemic.
April.
Yeah.
That's like a month after the pandemic started.
Exactly. So I mean, they seem very like they want people there.
Broadcom is a Chinese company, so I guess they were dealing with the pandemic for quite a while before it hit the United States.
Yeah, but I feel
March
like
of 2020 is when it hit here, so...
It's true, but I mean, I feel like things weren't really better
No,
there.
they weren't. They weren't good there.
They dealt with it a little
weren't better.
differently, you could say.
But it's, marginally more under...
Man, I feel like every single time one of these topics comes up of like a company pushing people to come back to the office, they always say that it's, for collaboration's sake and, the actual good communication between employees. But I just feel like that's not a good...
For a company our size, that makes all the sense in the world. But for a company the size of VMware or Broadcom, it doesn't really make any sense. Because what happens with companies this size usually is you work with a small group of people, whether that be remote. Sometimes even if you're in the office, they're in a different office somewhere in a different state.
Yeah.
So you're working remotely then anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of the friends that I have that work for large companies like this, they either work from home or they work in an office with maybe 2 people on this team, but their team that they actually interface with maybe 15, and they're spread all out.
Yeah.
So yes and no, but like for a company that size, it really doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, for anyone that's not a C-level, because like obviously the C-level people, they have board meetings and things that they attend monthly, bi-weekly, whatever, and the decision makers are all in the same space. But you're like average Joes, your worker bees. I mean, I don't think it really matters depending on their job function.
Yeah.
It shouldn't.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. They'll probably, presumably, get things figured out and stabilized here, over the next few months, maybe years. Hopefully it doesn't take that long, but, if a company's got the capital to spend, $69 billion,
Nice.
they can probably, they're probably willing to spend the time to get everything up and back to where it was with VMware. All right, so last time we talked a bit about some of the chaos happening over at OpenAI, and some new details have come out since then, attempting to explain all the kind of craziness that went down with Sam Altman, the once and former CEO of the current and former CEO of OpenAI, who was ousted by the board and then very quickly turned around and brought back. And at the time, the only thing the board really said was that he was, quote unquote, not consistently candid with the board in his communications. But a new insider report came out and explained that according to some, according to some, at least some members of the board found Sam Altman manipulative and conniving, and tried to manipulate the board into like getting rid of certain board members that he didn't like or agree with. So
I'd like to imagine that he was a very wascally wabbit. Just Bugs Bunny'd him. He'd duck season, rabbit season, They just all got confused, and then things just went awry. That's my hypothesis.
yeah,
Yep.
Sounds like he's every other CEO of any tech company in Silicon Valley. Like, I don't really see anything that's like different than most CEOs in general.
Aren't they all kind of like conniving? And...
That's kind of the job. I mean, honestly, that's kind of the role.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a situation where honestly, I don't know. I don't know how normal this is. I mean, is it really that common for like a CEO to try and play other members of the board against each other to?
Yeah.
I mean, based on my extensive knowledge of C-level employees in movies, yes, that is what they do.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
But
It
maybe
seems
not directly. You know, usually it's like some network of like getting people to pit against each other, and then like.
I mean, it's all like politics exist in any company.
Well, sure.
No matter which size.
Yeah.
But when you get to, I guess, the stakes that are in play for a company that's on the rise as fast and as big as they are, you just sort of amplify that. So maybe even some small slight may be amplified times 100 because of the position they found themselves in.
I mean, is there anything concrete in all of this, or is it all just kind of...
Yeah, there's really no other exposition other than just like, we think this might have happened.
Well, I don't know.
It's a person familiar with his perspectives.
I don't know. There's a few different like. This is from a writer from the New Yorker who was embedded in OpenAI for months on a separate story, and then just kind of heard about this by virtue of being there. So
Apparently, people at Microsoft started calling this event when they first got the call that they were going to announce that they fired him. They started calling it the Turkey Shoot Cluster.
wow,
Yeah.
man,
I guess it was right around Thanksgiving, so
Yeah. It was like 22nd.
that's really funny.
maybe not a lot of respect for OpenAI within Microsoft.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that, you know, Microsoft being such a heavy investor, and especially with all this stuff going on, it probably was a cluster of just, you know, new responsibilities, new things, chaos, like...
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I imagine there were a lot of people that were like, you know, this brand new kind of, I don't know, young gun company trying to, do all this crap, and it seems to fall apart in the course of a week.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I guess Sam Altman was mad about a story that Helen Toner?
Yeah. Yeah, no, she wrote a story about...
different ways AI companies can signal their commitment for safety through costly words and actions. It contrasts OpenAI's public launch of ChatGPT last year to Anthropic's deliberate decision not to productize its technology in order to avoid stoking the flames of AI hype, which I don't even, to be honest with you, know what that even means. Like what she's even talking about.
Well, you can see further on that, she thinks that Anthropic was showing its willingness to avoid the frantic corner cutting that the release of ChatGPT appeared to spur. So,
Which means what? To my knowledge, like, OpenAI still has the better or best, like, model and or implementation that I can...
Well, but I think this is talking less in terms of, like, capabilities of the language model and more the ethical implications of kind of kicking off this like AI arms race, I think is what she was referring to.
I understand that, I guess, but like, is that OpenAI's responsibility or their fault necessarily?
I mean, I think you could definitely put a lot of the. I don't know if it's their responsibility, but I think there is certainly an argument to be made that it's their fault, considering that ChatGPT has really kind of been at the epicenter for this whole rise in generative AI. I mean, we'd be hard pressed to think of another actual decent competitor to OpenAI in this field. I mean, is there anyone that's
Cortana?
Alexa.
No.
That's the thing. There isn't. No one is really going out of their way to like use Bard in opposed to ChatGPT because they think it's better, you know.
My AI on Snapchat.
Yeah, but the more I think through this, I don't understand the point of... Because she's on the board.
Well, but I don't think she is anymore.
Well, she's not now, but when she wrote the paper, she was. When she... I guess I see her, like, thought behind it. But I also understand, like, if you're Sam Altman, like, what the f***? Like, what are you doing? You're on the board, you know? Like...
Well, yeah, but she's on the board, but she also... Like, I guess her day job is serving as Director of Strategy and Foundational Research Grants at Georgetown University. So, or Georgetown University's Center for Security and Emerging Technology. But, you know, if she's, you know, the Center for Security and Emerging Technology, that definitely sounds in line of, you know,
Wow.
her writing this paper, you know.
I'm Team Sam. Kick her off. Kick her off the board.
Well, but I guess that's the ironic thing is that, you know, even though the board seemingly sided with Toner in terms of, you know, Sam Altman tried to push the board to get rid of her, and instead the board got rid of Sam. But there was such a backlash to that they reconfigured the board. Toner's no longer on there, and Sam Altman is back with more power than he ever had before. So,
Yeah, but it's like, who is more important? The woman who works at Georgetown in this very niche specific role, or the CEO that, like, you know, basically led the company to where they are now?
well, yeah, but I'm not going to argue which one is more important.
Well, it just
to
seems like
OpenAI,
it seems like a
but,
boneheaded decision from the board, is what I'm getting at. In general, decide to, if that's the third rail that you side, that, like, yeah, this is where we're getting rid of him. There had to have been something else.
Well, I think it's kind of a matter of principle in the sense that, you know, but it kind of, this article also seems to imply that Altman was not very, like, sneaky in the way he did this. It uses ham-fisted several times, basically meaning that, you know, he was very blunt. He probably didn't do this the way that, you know, all those...
Another CEO we were talking about? Yeah.
you know, all of those, you know, very successful fictional CEOs seem to...
Corners someone
pull
in an
off a move.
office and, like, threatens them to, like, make
Yeah.
this decision on the... Like the Ryujin quest line in Starfield.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. It feels like Altman did not handle this with, like, particular grace. And, you know, it seems like the way that Altman did this, it must have just really rubbed the board the wrong way. You know, they didn't want to feel like they were being, like...
Shut down.
Right. I mean, no one wants to feel that way anyway. I can understand that in terms of, you know, you're in a position of authority kind of over this person, and you don't want to, you know, be manipulated into basically ousting one of your peers, especially if you don't want to do that, you know. And I mean, again, clearly, at least in one sense, you know, they made the wrong move here because, you know, or maybe they made a pointless move, considering that, you know, it only really served to grant Altman more power and control. So, I don't know. It's just, it's interesting. It's almost one of those kind of, you know, how the sausage gets made kind of stories where
One
you don't...
of life's great mysteries.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't think this is really going to have any effect on Sam Altman, any meaningful effect on OpenAI. But it is interesting.
Well, I mean, it, like, going forward, he's definitely going to be able to get away with a lot more. Because, like,
yeah,
we've seen what ousting him almost caused and what it almost did to the company. So, like, you're definitely going to want to handle him with kid gloves if you're anybody on the board or, I mean, anybody else inside of the company. Unless he does something, I guess, to flip that as far as the loyalty that he has from the actual employees. Because it seems like that was the main, like, sticking point. That's the reason that they obviously rehired him, because half the company almost left to go join him at Microsoft. So
yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is just, you know, the only thing Altman could ever do to really put his position in danger would be something to piss off Microsoft.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
If he got on their bad side, then, you know,
which doesn't seem to be the case because they were like, come on over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Currently, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess time will tell. If anything at all, more comes out of this, changes, but I don't expect it to. I don't expect this to have any meaningful effect on anything, really. But I do think it's an interesting story, kind of seeing a little bit more about, what not consistently candid meant in this context. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. All right, so more and more car companies are charging subscriptions for vehicle features.
Which is the dumbest thing that I have ever heard of in my life. Like, I mean, here's the thing. These big expensive purchases that you make in life, like a car or a house or a boat, they're ongoing expenses even if you pay full for them right out the gate. You always got to pay gas for your car. There's always parts that'll need replaced. You always need tires. With a house, you always got to pay your power bill, water bill, heating bill, cooling bill, insurance. There's always ongoing fees, and I know that these don't always go back to the manufacturer.
That's the thing. You got to think about this from the manufacturer's point of view. All of those things that you're talking about.
I can't. I hate manufacturers.
Right. You're allowed to hate them. I don't like them either. But like, the thing is, like, all of those recurring things, like oil changes, maintenance, gas. None of those things go back to Honda. Let's throw Honda under the bus.
Well, but like
here.
a lot of them do, because a lot of people go back to the dealership to get all these maintenance things done.
Some people, but not all people.
Most of the people who can actually afford to go buy a new car are going to take it back to the dealership every few months to get a tune-up.
Most of the time, they actually subsidize that in the lease and or the loan because they give you X amount of oil changes or a package. So
and then you start going there for so long, you're just going to keep going there because that's where you know.
The bottom line is, like, this is not different.
Stupid. This is dumb. But
this is not different than any other industry. It's all about recurring revenue.
Right.
It's not the one-time 60% markup on the vehicle, labor versus materials. It's how can we make money guaranteed over the lifespan of the vehicle.
Like, there's good fiscal sense to do this in a purely, financial viewpoint. But I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. I hate it. But
when are they gonna start doing it where you can like get your heated seats for free with ads? Like, I'm not.
How would that even work?
I'm not saying that I'm going to bring up Ready Player One every single time we record this podcast, but like, it's gonna be like that where like they'll put a HUD through the windshield and they'll be like, well, we can take up so much of this space for ads, and they can still drive effectively. Or like, it like cuts off your music even if you're playing it through like CarPlay and like plays a radio-esque ad, and it's like, oh, subscribe to Mercedes Plus today. And it's just like,
I mean, commercial creep's a real thing. Like that's heads. I mean, we were just talking about it with YouTube a couple weeks ago. Like, I don't know. It's advertising and the different ways that you can try to make a buck off of certain things that just sort of seem to be, like, you would think would be like a given that, like heated seats, for example. You buy a car with heated seats. Like, imagine if you went home and your recliner wouldn't recline
unless you put a quarter in it.
That's what this is. But
that's the crazy part about this, as opposed to kind of a bunch of other things, because like
they have to spend the money to put it in the car,
right? Yeah. So that they're already like, it's kind of like the it's one of those kind of classic. I'm trying to think of the way that it's phrased. It's like the same reason that people hate landlords, because like landlords don't do any work to get your money. All they did was buy the property, and you have to just pay them a bunch of money now, even though they don't do anything. It's kind of the same thing where like You're paying them money, and all they're doing is just allowing you to use a feature of the car you already bought.
But, like, I mean, at least, not that I ever want to defend a landlord, but at least with landlords, like, they're obligated to, maintain a certain standard and come do maintenance and stuff like that. Even if it's outsourced by them, they cover that kind of stuff. And so that's it. I mean, with your car, they're not going to cover any... Like, I mean, there's warranties, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, the heated seat that runs off of probably, like, 2 or 3 wires... that takes a button to turn on, that's ridiculous that you'd have to pay a subscription to utilize that function. It's all there, it's just a button.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
The only realm that I could see this being, like, acceptable is if there's any remote services that use some kind of network, or, like, they've got to maintain some infrastructure to maintain.
Well, yeah, it's not like, I mean,
like XM or OnStar.
I buy my phone, it has a camera on it. I don't have to pay extra to use the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
It's there. I can use it. And now I get that I pay extra for different, like, cloud storage or, different
But
news
those
apps or whatever.
To Tyler's point, those things cost maintenance. We pay, the two of us, we subscribe to the New York Times.
Yeah.
And, we subscribe to the Times because they pay people to write those articles, to design those crosswords, to pick a different 5-letter word.
But it costs nothing to these car companies for me to use the feature that's already in the car.
Yeah, it's straight profit. Straight profit, baby.
It's insane.
It's the worst, but
makes me wanna die.
What are we gonna do? I guess the thing is,
what are we gonna do? Somebody think of the children.
Lobby for more consumer protection acts, I guess.
Yeah, I guess
It's about the only thing you can do.
I don't know.
yeah, I guess part of the good news is that, like, BMW backed down a little bit of what they were planning to do because of backlash.
I'm just saying, 20 years down the road from now, like, I'm going to be driving somewhere and my card's going to have expired or something, or I'm not going to realize it, and then a thing's going to pop in and say, your payment was declined, your brakes will shut off in 10 seconds. And then I just die because I got no brakes.
You could just, like, run it into a tree.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah, slowly.
Just wait until you get low speed and then run it into a tree.
They're not going to turn off your brakes, I don't think.
You never know.
I'm just saying, it all starts with the heated seats, man.
That's truly dystopian. I think they'll shut off your engine, but, like...
I mean, I feel like it's just going to turn to a point where, like, people will stop buying cars and it'll just be, like, long-term rentals.
Or leases.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you'll lease a car.
I don't know.
I mean, you can already finance a Papa John's pizza. Like, how worse could it get?
That's so disturbing.
You can.
You don't need the pizza if you need to finance the pizza.
Pizza's not that expensive, not even at Papa John's. I think that's more. Don't blame the person for financing the pizza. Blame the world for being a place where you have to finance a pizza.
I can't think of any situation where I would have to finance a pizza. I just simply would not get the pizza.
Pay over 6 weeks?
Could you imagine a month and a half paying for a pizza?
I like the sad, like, lighting effects they've used on the pizza.
Yeah.
Like you're in some kind of, like dumpster.
Prison?
Yeah.
It's like jail bars.
To be fair, that was during the pandemic, so I don't know if they still allow you to finance a pizza or not, but you most certainly could in 2020.
Well, wait, can I, like, finance pizzas but pay them off early to build up my credit?
Yeah, you gotta work your way from pizza to, like, the next thing, you know?
No, I mean, genuinely, if that was a thing, that's a great way for, like, younger people to
Finance a pizza?
build up credit.
Maybe our advice is to finance a pizza.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of coming back around on this.
I mean,
I found the practical application.
you just pay it off early.
Yeah, I mean, that's
No
a good
interest.
way, yeah. Imagine
Maybe I'll start financing
getting like
everything.
sent to collections though over a pizza.
Yeah, I would just laugh at that. Could you send collections of pizza to make up for
Be
it?
like, here, I'm sorry.
This is equal value.
I'll pay this sort of soon.
Could you
I
make your
swear.
own pizza out of ingredients from home and ship to the collections
I'm gonna send him like
office?
a Lunchables pizza. Be like, oh, it must have shrunk in the mail.
Oh, God. Well, I don't know. I guess the hope is that, you just keep an eye out on.
Pizza prices.
No, we're going back to Cars.
Oh, okay.
Not the 2005 movie. Starring
Isn't
Lightning
it 2006?
I thought it was 2005.
Pretty sure Cars was 2006.
It could be 2006. You're probably right.
Yeah, I know I am.
I think just, try and keep an eye out on.
Which car manufacturers are doing this and
Right.
avoid the milk costs.
Well, that's the thing. That's the only way you're ever going to be able to do this because, to your point, Tyler, the government's probably not going to do much to stop this. So it's going to be on, the free market to reward the companies that aren't doing crappy things like this.
What
But it
companies-
kind of seems like most of them are.
What companies are doing this?
Well, Volvo, Ford, Toyota, BMW, General Motors, so roll in all the GM properties.
Do they have like a one-time fee I can pay
Mercedes.
instead? Like it was in the past. Well, because I would probably only use heated seats like 3 months out of the year.
To that point, there is kind of, some practical sense in only paying for some of these things for part of the year, but
But
at the same time,
I wonder what
if
the
you were able to just pay up front to just
Yeah.
always have them for the lifetime of the vehicle.
I just wonder what the comparison would be of it. Say I only used it like November or maybe December, January, February. Those are probably like the coldest 3 months.
Yeah.
I only use it those 3 months, but it's however much a month for, say, I have the car for 10 years. I wonder what that price would compare to how much I would have paid up front.
See, the only way I could see this being worth it to the consumer at all is like if you buy a car new and you go to add these options on. Like heated seats are usually anywhere from $750 to $1,000, sometimes more. If that was free, the option was free, but they charged you recurring whatever fee to activate or to use it, and it just gets added to the price of the car. So it's not a separate charge that you have to like keep up with on your credit card that you could cancel. It's just they subsidize it.
See, I wouldn't like that. I'd rather it be a separate charge because
You
I
would.
feel like at that point you're just going to end up prolonging your payoff of your car.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's.
I
Really
know
no
it'd probably
different.
be minuscule, like not that noticeable, but I think I'd rather just have it out of the way so that it doesn't add to what little bit of interest it would add. And
I guess one very slight positive that could potentially come out of this is, there's a lot of kind of accusations about, not just cars, but a lot of different products and technology being built worse because I guess, there's a lot of companies that are kind of accused of making like worse or lower quality products so that they break more often and therefore you have to buy replacements more often. But, if cars are something that they can start getting like recurring revenue from for as long as you own the vehicle, then maybe they'll make it a little bit better to where you're paying that longer, where you had to deal with those subscription services longer. Just kind of trying to see some bit of a silver lining here.
So in that scenario, would they like fix your heated seats if they broke? Is there? I wonder. I mean, obviously we don't know, but like I wonder if there's something in like the fine print. Because
Yeah.
if your heated seats quit working, they'll probably continue to charge you until you cancel. But obviously you would cancel. In which case, wouldn't they be more inclined to like fix the heated seats? So
Exactly.
they continue getting the.
And plus, if you're continually paying them for anything, heated seats, there's stuff on here for cruise control, for remote start things, stuff like that. All that revenue cuts off if eventually you decide to sell your car and go with a different company, And you might especially want to do that if you feel like your current one has been nickel and diming you to death with all these different subscription fees.
cruise control?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
This is Ford offers its hands-free driving Blue Cruise assisted cruise control option for Some of its vehicles, if you're willing to pay $75 a month.
That's like a third of a car payment.
But I mean, hands-free, does that mean, like, I don't have to drive?
It's like autopilot on the Teslas.
Okay,
basically.
yeah. The only reason I was like, so, wow, cruise control, because, like, you know, my 94 GMC has cruise control. It's not fancy.
Well,
Yeah.
It's not worth $75 a month.
back to our point though. Originally, like, if that's just something they can enable with like a software, like that means all the pieces are there. I mean,
It's
video games suck. Cars now suck. I feel like I'm an old guy, an old man aging, like
right?
yelling at the clouds.
It's like, I feel like
Everything-
I'm 60 now.
Everything sucks. How did we get here? I feel like I'm Tucker Carlson. I'm like, what is going on? Cars suck. Video games suck. They're not any fun anymore. You try to play a video game lately? Me neither.
Yeah, there's only like a few good video games. Honestly, like this year for video games, I feel like has been better than the prior like 5. Personally,
Yeah, but like
but honestly,
2007 to like 2012.
prime time.
God, so many good games that I didn't have to like put a credit card in
Yeah.
at any point in time to enjoy.
Well, to be fair though, a lot of the games that I play now, I mean, only with friends. I don't play them by myself because I just don't. But like, most of those I haven't paid anything for. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a few, but like, I mean, they're 2007 in particular, which maybe this could be like part of the Christmas thing. But like, if you look at the games that released in
We
2007,
should talk about this over Christmas.
yeah, maybe
Like,
we'll
on our
maybe we'll do
Christmas
this.
episode.
But like the 2007 may be the greatest gaming year in history. Like there's so many good AAA releases. Like where now we sort of wait for one or two.
Yeah.
And then the ones that do come out, oftentimes half of them are disappointing.
Well, and the problem now is like everyone's rushing to. They like get on these companies because they're not putting stuff out fast enough. Then the companies rush to finish them, and then they're bad, and then people get mad because they're bad, and it's like, well, you were the one pushing them to finish the game, and there's all these expectations.
Which this relates back to this problem, but basically companies they have this notion that like profits have to go up every year over year endlessly. Which you can't just sort of have a cap where you're like a Nintendo, for example, kind of is one of the only other video game companies that they reach certain plateaus that they're happy with, and then they continuously just steady the course. But companies just year after year have to try to find ways. However, whether that's paying for heated seats or charging you $40 for V-Bucks in Fortnite, you've got to do something.
There were so many good games in 2007.
Yeah. Like maybe the greatest gaming year in history.
Super Mario Galaxy, BioShock, The Witcher, Assassin's Creed, Halo 3, Guitar Hero 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Team Fortress 2, Portal.
The Orange Box, yeah, those games.
Yeah, man. The B-movie game.
Oh, man. When did Battlefront 2 come out?
Star Wars?
Yeah.
It was a little before that, I believe.
It was, like
It was 2005, maybe. I think 1 and 2 came out a year apart from each
Yeah.
other.
Really?
Yeah, I think 1 was 2003 or 4, and 2 was 2004 or 5.
Because I remember... Well, when did Episode 3 come out?
2005?
Because it was like a big deal that Battlefront 2 had a bunch of stuff from
Right.
Revenge of the Sith. Because
Yep.
it was like very close to the
Yeah,
release
it was
of that
2005.
movie.
Crisis, it was in 2007. Stalker.
I think I would very much like to be one of those NPCs in like a Soulsborne game where you come up to me and all I ever say is like, Miranda, forgive me. And that's it.
I want to be like a Siegvard of Katarina, and he's like,
I think I want to be in the stands of a Madden 2006 game. I want to be like two-dimensional, and I'm like,
That's great, man.
and I cheer when Michael Vick breaks off a 79-yard run against my dad, where I call Hail Mary, and then everyone goes downfield, and then I run for 100 yards and juke 3 people for a touchdown, and my dad throws the controller.
I saw this video the other day where this guy was playing one of the Madden games, and he was playing as the Titans against the Patriots. and he threw like 4 interceptions in a row, and finally he did a pop-up, and it was like, we see you've been matched with someone above your skill set. Would you like to concede?
Oh my god.
He's like, man, the game just asked me to quit.
That's bad.
Man.
That's really bad.
It was really funny.
Man. I don't know, yeah, in terms of like voice acting though, I would love to be one of those like, you know, like 5 people they record for each team. It was always like, go Titans! Yeah! Woo!
And then multiply it times 100,000. Or
No,
maybe
because like occasionally, if you play Madden and if you turn off, especially like the announcers, and
Yeah.
just play with like the stadium ambiance,
You can hear
You
it.
can very clearly hear like 4 people just from like different areas, just yell out,
I
just
want to be one
single
of
voices.
the guys on the field too, because sometimes you'll hear the players be like, "Here we go." Watch a screen. Watch a screen. You hear that?
Check 45. Check 45.
Man under. Man under. That'd be fun.
Thank you for listening to It's News to Me. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see or hear more like it, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@BurkIT or go to our website at burkitc.com. Our theme music is Big City Lights by Up in the Air. Be sure to come back in 2 weeks to hear more from me, Noah, and Tyler. And in the meantime, keep your data secure and your mind sharp.
Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll go become a voice actor.
And I'd like to be a voice actor.
I'd love to be a voice actor.
Yeah.
I could do it. I can do different voices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me one. Tell me who to do right now.
Give me a let's see, Steve Buscemi as Donald Trump.
Okay. All right, you ready?
I know what's going to happen right now.
You do. Hey, it's me, Steve Buscemi, as Donald Trump.
No, that's not good.
Here, give me another one.
Steve Buscemi as hold on, Steve Buscemi as Jeff Goldblum's character in Jurassic Park.
Hey, it's me, Steve Buscemi, as Jeff Goldblum's character
In Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
All right, one more for the road.
Okay.
We do them in threes.
Okay, we'll do, let's see, Bill Cosby as Steve Buscemi's character in Reservoir Dogs.
Hey, it's me, Bill Cosby.
Man, you could maybe do that.
Yeah, I think so.
Shouldn't you be in prison?